Welcome to Yoga Teacher Journeys, your podcast for all things yoga and mindful living. I'm Claire.
And I'm Bianca, and we're two yoga teachers sharing the insights and wisdom we've picked up along our journey so far.
Whether you're thinking about teacher training or exploring yoga as a way of life, join us weekly for inspiring conversations.
Let's go on this journey together. Hello, welcome again. Episode, I've lost count.
I've lost count too, maybe 6?
6. Yes, yeah. I think, yeah, it is. Episode 6, welcome. Oh, what a week. What a day.
What a life.
What a life. Do you remember when on the yoga training course, I feel like I said that every day, like, what a day. What a day. It felt like that every day, didn't it? Gosh. Anyway, so we want to continue the chats now and talk about life after teacher training, because you come out after such a crazy experience that it takes a little while to ground yourself again, doesn't it?
Definitely, it does. And I think different people feel differently when they come out of the course. And some people felt like they needed a break from yoga. It was quite intense. The message that the teachers left us with was try to practice every day, even if it's 5 minutes. Just bring yourself, bring your body to the mat. And even if it's just sitting in meditation for 5 minutes, that's already an amazing thing to continue to do. Continue the practice, really. That was one of the key messages. But I think what was one of the things that was also really great is that One Yoga gave us access to the space to teach for a month after we graduated. And so some of us did. I did, for instance. I left to go Koh Tao for a little bit, a couple of nights, just to, again, decompress after the training. But I was very happy to come back, and it was an amazing experience to teach my first students at One Yoga. And it was great because I had to find my own students, and it ended up being people from hostels and people who hadn't practiced yoga before ever. So I really had to think about how to teach, how to adapt my sequence, and the feedback I got was great. It was so helpful to keep growing. But I think the best outcome of that was that they came a second time, most of them.
Yeah,
And
did you do 2 classes there at One Yoga?
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. And so they came the second time and they really enjoyed it. And one girl even said she really wanted to do her teacher training. So we had a lovely chat about that. So it was an amazing experience for me in that sense. How did you feel? Did you end up teaching the weeks after?
So I actually put my name down on the list to teach one of the days at One Yoga, because I think that was such an amazing opportunity that it almost made you want to come back to Koh Phangan, didn't it? Because you're like,
Definitely.
we all kind of, I think in my mind, I was like, I know that I need to get teaching like ASAP, because the longer you leave it, the more the anxiety and stuff is going to build, the fear is going to come. You just need to do it, right? So I put my name down to teach a class, and it came, I think it was the day before, and I was just like, I think I was so deep in my own stuff that the thought of, I wasn't in the space to actually teach at that point. So I gave my space to Emily. So I was like, you do the thing, I'm going to come to your class. I just don't think I have the energy to even think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, what took so much energy was the sequence that I did on the teacher training was all trauma related, right? So then the thought of, that sequence was maybe a little bit too much for a community class. I would have to put out advisories or whatever if I'm teaching about trauma and things. So I didn't have the energy and the capacity to kind of think of creating a new sequence right then. Whereas for you, did you just teach the same sequence that you did in your practicum?
So the first one I taught the same sequence as I taught in my practicum. And then the second time, because some of the same students were going to come, I took the opportunity to create a new flow. And it was a slower hatha hip opening flow. So that was great. And I even went back onto campus in the Ocean Shala to prepare that flow. So it was a very nice space for me to be able to do that. And yeah, and I'm really glad I took the opportunity, because as you said, trying to teach as soon as you can is really helpful, and it also gives you that confidence boost when you're teaching people who are not in the teacher training, because
Yes.
we lose sight of literally how much we learned and how much we know. And even now, like even this week, I was thinking about it. I was just holding Warrior 2 with so much ease, and I could see the students really struggling. And I just, even a simple asana, such as Warrior 2, I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, like I am a teacher. I can hold this with ease, and it's so
Mhm.
obvious to me, but it's not obvious to someone who's just
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, so it's teaching, yeah, people that you don't know as well is a totally different vibe. So I think it's amazing if you can teach in that week or the weeks after the teacher training, do it. If you
Do
have the
it for
energy and you
sure.
have the capacity, absolutely do it. I think where I
Mm.
focused my energy that week after was I was going to a lot of yoga classes just for myself because I felt like I was kind of in the depths of quite a lot of my own emotional stuff coming to the surface. So for me, I was really using yoga as healing for my own self. Yeah, it was just part of my journey really. I met with my therapist as well. I remember I was having like therapy and yoga, and the combination of the two things together is a really powerful experience. Yeah, it was a very healing trip for myself, I would say.
I
So
love
that's kind of, yeah, explored quite a few yoga schools around the area where we were staying near One Yoga. And I remember after each class, I was like, I noticed that and I noticed that. And I would write some notes down about what I liked and little things that I was like, oh, that was really nice when they did this. And I think it's so nice then on the other side of yoga teacher training to be a student in someone else's class because you notice so much more. And it's really beautiful, isn't it? And then like talking to the teachers after, just like I really enjoyed that. So for me, it was like taking part in yoga classes at different places was the thing. I was trying to do yoga every day. I think there was a couple of days that I didn't, because I was still working. I still had all my life coaching clients. So I felt like there was a lot going on. There was a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're right. I think it's so important to also keep going to other people's classes. Even now, it's so inspirational.
Mm.
It helps you with your own practice. It teaches you. I mean, people have different styles. You know, we end up kind of going to the same style. I mean, I had a friend, well, Maddie came over last week and she came to my class and she was like, oh, it's so interesting because she went to so many yoga classes this summer with such different styles, and she came to mine and she was like, oh, like it was like I was home at One Yoga, and the style we've been taught, the way we've been taught at One Yoga is very specific to One
Yeah.
Yoga, and we don't even realize it, right?
Yeah, we don't even know. Yeah, and you don't know that until you expose yourself to more things. So I think that's really
Yeah,
important. So yeah, I stayed a week in Koh Phangan, and you then come back from Koh Tao. We went for lunch in that little pink shack. What was that called? I can't remember. Sun Bowl? Was it
something
called
like
Sun
that.
Bowl? Yeah, they
Sunshiny.
had Sunshine Bowl or something, and they had a strawberry and something matcha.
Yes, very good.
Strawberry, was it strawberry and rhubarb or strawberry?
Strawberry, yeah,
Strawberry and
something.
something matcha. That was really good, wasn't it? I remember that. So I remember having lunch there, and then we decided that we were going to meet in Pai. No, we weren't. Chiang Mai, Chiang Mai. Yeah, because I was so ready to leave Koh Phangan. I'd got to the point where I'm like, I think I need to go somewhere that feels like I can actually breathe. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I'd spent quite a lot of time in Chiang Mai earlier on in the year. So I was like, I think for me, I'm going to go back to someone that's a bit more familiar. I can walk around. I don't need a scooter. Just go do my thing. So I got a flight to Chiang Mai. I know, I think you had to get the ferry to the mainland and then a flight from the mainland up to Chiang Mai, I believe. So then I spent 2 weeks in Chiang Mai, a week kind of with myself, and then you came. Oh, when I was in Chiang Mai as well, I went on a yoga retreat, didn't I? That was
Yes,
beautiful. Yeah. And I think for me as well, that for me was perfect there. Like after doing all the yoga teacher training to actually just go and not have to think about anyone else and just have my own practice and work on myself, like that was really beautiful. So the yoga retreat there, we did 3 nights and loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And then we came back and we met you.
yes. I remember when I arrived just after the retreat and
We went for
you
breakfast, didn't
went for
we? Yeah,
breakfast and you seemed so good. I
yeah.
think, when we said goodbye in Chiang Mai, I could see there was still so much going on, and you really needed that retreat. And I actually thought of going on it, but actually for me, it felt overwhelming to go and do a yoga retreat at that time.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Um,
It's a
funny, but yeah,
totally different vibes and needs. And this is it. There's no right way. You've just got to listen to what your body and everything needs because it's a lot.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so we met in Chiang Mai. We recorded our first episode.
Yes, we did at
Um,
the Isti Hotel.
yes, the hotel. And then we traveled up to Pai.
Yeah, do you remember
Was
that bus? My gosh.
oh my goodness, yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
crazy, crazy, crazy. But before we went to Pi, we is that when we went to Studio Layla? We did a yoga
Yes.
class in Chiang Mai together. It's so beautiful. And that was the studio that I was practicing in January where I really connected with yoga. And it was so nice to go back there. So nice.
No, it was great. I remember going exactly what you said during the practice, thinking, "Oh, I really like this. Oh, I really like that. I might take this into my practice and this into my practice." It was really, really lovely. And I think it contrasted actually quite a bit with the class we went to together in Pi,
Yes.
where the teacher's sequence was amazing. Like she was
Oh, it was
extremely
beautiful. Yeah.
experienced, and she was so stressed out, and she was close to burnout. She even said it herself that she'd been teaching way too many classes that week, and her energy really came through in a way that was the moment really where it hit me, and I realized that I need to be really careful with my energy, and the way you show up to the class is just as important as the sequence.
Yeah, and you can't just, all right, I'm just going to teach yoga class. There is so much more to it than that. Like, if you're not present with your class, it's not really yoga. Do you know what I mean? It's all about holding that space and just and showing up and being present in the space with them. And yeah, you could really tell it with that teacher, couldn't you? And I think we both came away from it like it felt off, didn't it? There was
Yeah,
like she wasn't really there.
exactly. She wasn't really there. You could tell that she was really just making it up as she went along, a bit on a whim, but not really with intention.
Hmm.
And that she was exhausted.
Yeah.
And it again, not really her fault at
Yeah, of
all,
course
but
not. No.
it just shows how important it is. We do give a lot of ourselves during a class, our presence, our energy, intention. Even when you're going to adjust someone, you have to be so present, fully focused on them and their energy, their breath, so that the adjustment comes through in the best possible way. That you can't be teaching that many classes a week and really deliver in that way. It's very
Yeah.
challenging.
Unless you really do need your own practice and your own well-being comes first, always. So I think that's probably what we learned. That was the biggest lesson in that one is that actually it shines through. Like, so if you're exhausted, yeah, your students are going to notice that. And like, sometimes you are and you show up and you maybe flow a little bit differently in kind of harmony with how you're feeling. But it was kind of like there was a bit of a disconnect with that class,
Absolutely.
wasn't there?
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. But pie was fun though.
Pi was fun. We didn't have the best weather, but we
No,
still
the weather
had
wasn't
a
great.
really good time. And then that was sort of almost the end of our Thailand journey. I mean, for me, the other thing that I did just before I left was I went to this meditation retreat at Parpey. So it's more of an introduction to meditation. So you go into the forest to live with the monks there, and you can follow their daily practices of meditation, but they also teach you their ways of meditation. They give you really good guides and books to read on very simple methods on how to meditate. So I think that was a really interesting experience for me. And I felt like my social battery was pretty drained at that point. So I wanted some time to myself. um, I did actually record a bit of a podcast on that. So if people are interested, you can go check that out because that was a very interesting and deep sort of experience for me overall. But I do think, the meditation and the yoga obviously come hand in hand. And it was a really cool place to try out a bit more meditation. So I would definitely recommend.
I think it's an experience, isn't it? And there was
Yeah.
a lot of people talking about it, wasn't there? Like when we were away, that you've got a
Yes.
lot of people talking about doing these kind of meditation retreats with the monks, and it's like, go and experience it if you can. Like that's such a cool thing to do, and you learn something about yourself. You get to experience a different way of living, and yeah, it was really beautiful. I listened to your little podcast episode. That was good.
Thanks. No, it was very interesting, and I think if you are new to meditation, it's the perfect place to go, to start it out. And actually, they have opened up, I think, a center in Europe as well, so you can go check that out if you can't make your way all the way to Thailand. There
Mhm.
is one in Europe, so yeah, no, it was a great journey, really. Thailand. I was there for 2 months in total. You must have been a
Wow.
similar amount.
So I was nearly 3.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when I was in Pi, was it when we were in Pi that I was like, I think I'm gonna go home.
Yes.
And I remember booking that flight back to the UK, and it was just like a relief. Like I knew it was time for me. Whereas you were traveling on, you were going to Vietnam, weren't you?
Yes, I first went to Bali, then to
Oh
Vietnam,
my gosh.
then
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah. Did the rounds, hey?
I
Um,
did.
but yeah, I'd say that pretty much sums up the Thailand trip.
It does. It does. It was a very beautiful, unique experience. We did do the best cooking class in Chiang Mai. If
Oh my
anyone ever,
God.
oh my goodness,
Yeah, we
the
definitely
best.
talk about that sometime. That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That mango sticky rice.
All the curries and like the
Yeah.
baklava
And
made.
it was just fun, wasn't it? We went to the market and that was a really fun day. I remember that.
I
Very
know.
nice, very nice.
Mm,
But yeah, Chiang Mai's cool. If anyone wants some travel tips on Chiang Mai, hit us up, you know.
definitely. Very cool
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, I like Chiang Mai. Pai was cool. I'd go back to Pai, but maybe a different time of year when the weather was better.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, oh my God. I mean, it seems like a long time ago as well, doesn't it? But it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. That's the end of the Thailand adventures then. On
I
to
guess.
whatever we're going to talk about next time. We'll see.
Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think we've already touched upon some of the topics in terms of, becoming a teacher. Obviously, you got home, and I suppose how did it feel to get home and start
Yeah.
teaching? We can talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that next time. I'm
Great.
excited. Right, thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. See you next
Bye.
time.